Welcome to the Maryland Youth Institute Online, hosted by the University of Maryland Eastern Shore and the World Food Prize Foundation. Now, over the next couple days, we're going to tackle some of the toughest problems we face in the world. And we're going to work together to end hunger and poverty and improve life on our planet, all from the comfort of our homes as we socially distance and stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. So why are we here today? The single greatest challenge of the 21st century will be to sustainably feed 10 billion people on our planet by the year 2050. Now that's just 30 years away. We're going to have to produce and distribute more food in the next 30 years than has been produced in the last 10,000 years combined. And we're going to have to do it with fewer resources, with less water, with less land, and with fewer inputs. We're going to have to deal with climate change and increasingly erratic weather conditions, with extreme temperatures. That means more flooding and more droughts, with rising ocean levels and with saltwater intrusion. And we're going to have to do it while dealing with new and emerging plant, animal, and human diseases, like coronavirus. The question isn't, can we do it? It's how do we do it? And how do we do it in a way that guarantees our efforts are evidence-based, effective, cost-efficient, culturally appropriate, sustainable, and fair for all people on the planet? Now think about this. At the turn of the century, just a few years before most of you were born, the leaders of 191 countries around the world came together and they agreed on 8 global goals to reduce human suffering and improve the quality of life for all people on our planet. These ambitious Millennium Development Goals unified the international community around 21 achievable targets by the year 2015 to reduce by half the proportion of people on our planet who live in poverty and hunger, who do not have access to clean drinking water, and who lack adequate sanitation. It also focused on things like providing universal primary education for every child, promoting gender equality and empowering women and girls, reducing child mortality and improving maternal health, combating HIV, AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis, and other diseases, and doing all of this in a way that protects the environment and ensures sustainability. Now, these were big, audacious goals, and we made incredible progress. Now, not every country achieved all of the goals, and progress in many places was slower than we'd hoped it would be. But we made real progress. In just over 15 years, more than 80 developing countries around the world were able to cut hunger in half. Think about that. In every region of the world, across every type of government, political system, geography, economy and industry, religion and faith perspective, across entire cultures and societies, and in local communities and individual households and families, we were able to reduce hunger and poverty and make real progress on each of these goals. We now have a map that shows us exactly what works and the way forward. And for the first time in human history, there is now no excuse for any country or any government to say that they don't know what to do. They can simply look at their neighbors and at examples all over the world and see what has worked and how it has been done. They can see how technologies and policies and programs can be better adapted to meet their local needs and realities to achieve better results. So think about this. In your lifetime, in just the last 20 years, we have reduced extreme poverty by 75% on the planet, increasing incomes and lifting over 1.1 billion people out of abject poverty and suffering. It's incredible the progress we've made. But we have to remember there are still more than 736 million people on the planet who live on less than $2 per day. And almost half of the world's population, lives on less than $5.50 per day. Now, another incredible success, we've cut hunger by half. And in parts of Central and South America, it's actually been reduced by over 2/3. That's 200 million more people who are food secure for the first time today. But despite that incredible progress, there are still over 820 million people on the planet right now who do not have enough to eat. And we know that with the coronavirus and the impact that it's had not just on our economies and our health systems, but on our food system, we know that in the next year, the number of hungry people on the planet could double. That all of the progress that we have been making over the last 2 decades could be wiped out. So in 2016, the world came back together again, and they looked at the progress we'd made and looked at where we'd failed, how we fell short, and based on all of that knowledge and learning, we set new goals based on everything that we had come to understand. These new goals, 17 goals, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, were set to be achieved by the year 2030. So the Millennium Development Goals challenged us to reduce our problems by half. The Sustainable Development Goals focus on finishing the job. These are the goals of our lifetime. And we are the first generation in all of human history with the ability, scientifically, technologically, economically, and politically, to solve these global challenges once and for all. We can achieve zero hunger. We can end extreme poverty. We can end child and maternal mortality. We can improve human nutrition and health. We can guarantee access to clean water and sanitation and provide education and economic opportunities for all people on the planet. It is all achievable in our lifetime. These are our goals, and that's why we're here today. Now, you have identified a major problem we face on the planet, and you've researched how it affects a typical family in another country. You've looked at how it impacts the economy, the health of the population, the environment, and in analyzing the evidence, you have come to some critical conclusions. So now you're going to share those with us and tell us what you think we should do. You are going to recommend the technologies, the innovations and interventions, the programs and the policies that will most effectively solve these problems. You will decide what we invest in and how we use our resources, where we put our attention and effort, and how we get the job done. We are so excited to learn about your research and recommendations, and most importantly, to hear your ideas on how we can solve these complex global challenges, achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, and end hunger and poverty on our planet once and for all.